Today I want to talk about how to grow the African American middle class and to provide a new deal for Black America. That deal is grounded in three promises: safe communities, great education, and high-paying jobs.
You want to talk about it?
Oh, really?
I can't say too much about it.
Oh, really?
Huh?
Can't say nothing bad about it. You know, because
I'm not trying. I'm in the costume. I'm trying to do only good vibes. I don't want to talk about how much I hate the president.
Oh, okay.
can't say it.
No, I understand that. Okay. So I'm standing at the star of the Great White Hope, Donald Trump. This is his star. It was attacked during the presidential primaries, and so it has some cracks in it, but it is still alive and doing well. The Great White Hope. This is his star, right here on Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, California.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We want to tell you about an op-ed that ran in the New York Times over the weekend you might not have seen. The writer, who's a law professor in New York called Echo Yonka, asked a simple question: can my children be friends with white people? He really asked it, and he wasn't optimistic. Quote, "I will teach my boys the lesson generations old," he wrote. "I will teach them to be cautious. I will teach them suspicion. I will teach them distrust. I will teach my boys to have profound doubts that friendship with white people is possible." Well, those doubts mirrored the writer's own. As he put it, quote, "History has provided little reason for people of color to trust white people." That piece was one of the most popular on the New York Times website, even today. It was hardly unusual, though. Go to any liberal website, Salon, Slate, Vox, HuffPo, and you'll find similar pieces arguing that an entire racial group is untrustworthy and dangerous. This is a big change for the left. For most of the 20th century, liberals, and it was noble, argued that it was immoral to reward or punish people based on their skin color. Individuals ought to be judged solely by the choices they make. Anything less is bigotry. Liberals don't say that anymore. What happened?
Hello, folks. How you feel? Good this morning? Hope you do. I'm trying to get on my feet again. Feel pretty good. Thankful it's as well as it is. Oh, boys, I'm pleased to see you. I don't know where you come from, but I give you all the welcome I've got to offer you. And I want to tell you that I'm living on the same ground that I've lived on for 75 long years when I come here as an 18-year-old bride. I went to Washington 50 years and a little more ago. I saw all the people around there and been with the presidents. And I learned a great many things up there that I didn't know before. I'll add a little more to it. I was one of the board of lady managers for the Chicago Exposition. And I served my full time in Chicago and learned a good many things over there. I was a delegate to the Tennessee Centennial Exposition. I was a delegate to St. Louis, a juror at St. Louis. I think for a North Georgia cracker of my size and age, I've had a pretty good education on that line. That do all right? I was a 3-year-old girl when the Indians were moved from this country to Indian Territory. I have an indistinct recollection of seeing the red men as they went through the woods, for everything was woods nearly at that time. I have a distinct impression, if a 3-year-old child can have it. Nevertheless, I've been here since that time, and I've seen the march of progress all the way. At that time, we had only stagecoaches, and we only had horses and buggies, and we had lots of footback travelers, usually. Now I've seen it come along all this way, and the airplane goes over this Oh, my house going on its way, and it's got to be such a common thing. The old girl don't go even out to see if she can look at it.
Go back a few hundred years and people talked about it in terms of spiritual progress or something fairly abstract. And then with the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and the scientific age beginning, 2 to 3 centuries ago, then progress became identified very much with material progress. People have written entire books about what progress means. The trouble that I'm particularly interested in is that you can't really tell the difference between good progress and bad progress until it is played out, and by which time, if you've been mistaken in your idea of what true progress is, it may be too late by that point.
The immigrants who came to this country years ago through Ellis Island, they came to this country for opportunity. They came to this country planning on being American. The people that are coming in now, they really want to just continue their old lifestyle, and they give nothing back to us.
If you can't speak English, don't come. If you don't want to speak English, don't come. We don't need you.
The society that's invading our nation right now is not a moral society. They'll even take the teeth out of your head, the shoes off of your feet, and the gas out of your gas tank, because that's who they are. That's who they were bred to be from birth. Have you ever gone to Mexico? There isn't one neighborhood child that doesn't feel that that's my stuff that you have. When they come here, they take your stuff. Why do I want to have an immoral society come to my country?
And how many people here agree with what the gentleman just then said?
Somewhat.
Object to a Muslim mayor. What's the problem with someone having a religion which is different to yours?
I don't have a...
But keep your stuff to yourself.
Okay.
Don't try to come in here and make this a Muslim country. It ain't gonna happen. So you have allowed these people to come in there and you let them take over, and what are you doing? Nothing. You're coming over here and you are tramping on us. We're tired of it.
Go take
This
care
is
of them
why
first.
we got out of your country.
The President of the United States.
Congress passes the most sweeping civil rights bill ever to be written into the law, and thus reaffirms the conception of equality for all men that began with Lincoln and the Civil War 100 years ago. The Negro won his freedom then. He wins his dignity now. 5 hours after the House passes the measure, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is signed at the White House by President Johnson. Before an audience of legislators and civil rights leaders who had labored long and hard for passage of the bill, President Johnson calls for all Americans to back what he calls a turning point in history.
We must not approach the observance and enforcement of this law in a vengeful spirit. Its purpose is not to punish. Its purpose is not to divide, but to end divisions, divisions which have lasted all too long. Its purpose is national, not regional. This Civil Rights Act is a challenge to all of us to go to work in our communities and our states, in our homes and in our hearts, to eliminate the last vestiges of injustice in our beloved country. So, tonight I urge every public official, every religious leader, every business and professional man, every working man, every housewife, I urge every American to join in this effort to bring justice and hope to all our people and to bring peace to our land.
There's warm applause from members of both parties as the president sets to work. It is work. He uses nearly 100 pens to affix his signature and date. Souvenirs go to Republican leader Everett Dirksen and Democratic whip Hubert Humphrey. The president seems to have mastered the art of just touching each pen to the paper.
For President of the United States.
He is truly pro-life.
Immigration leader Martin Luther King receives his pay, a gift he said he would cherish. The Department of Justice will enforce the law if necessary. And G-Man Chief J. Edgar Hoover is present. Another group of pens is reserved for the Kennedys, and the Attorney General is entrusted with a half dozen.
America is tired of being treated second class.
I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly. I think she's a third-rate reporter.
Now, in this summer of 1964, the Civil Rights Bill is the law of the land. In the words of the President, it restricts no one's freedom so long as he respects the rights of others.
Did you do that?
I'm not into it. No, I didn't do that with them.
We bend over and say thank you.
Why do people think it's egotistical of you to say that you could have gotten Lady Di? You could have gotten her, right? You could have nailed her. I think I could have.
If it was Pam Anderson and Whoopi Goldberg, who do you do?
Well, you know, right now I have to go with Whoopi.
Know that the United States military deserves a commander-in-chief who loves our country passionately and will never apologize for this country.
He's not a war hero. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
Excuse me. I've been so lucky, right, in terms of that whole world.
You've never gotten a social disease.
It is a dangerous world out there.
It is.
Scary. It's like Vietnam, sort of like, you know, the Vietnam era.
It is your personal Vietnam, isn't it?
It is my personal
It is. You've said that many
I feel
times.
like a great and very brave soldier.
I will absolutely apologize sometime in the hopefully distant future if I'm ever wrong.
I'm in it to win it.
We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning.
He is committed to leading this country in an effective way.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them.
How are you going to make them pay for the wall?
I will, and the wall just got 10 feet taller. This guy used a filthy, disgusting word on television. He's a
The big Wonga.
schlong.
Major.
Political bullshit. Listen, you mother. We're going to tax you 25%.
And he should be ashamed of himself. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Are you ready to make America great again?
To do whatever we have to do.
I'm very glad to be able to take part in this celebration in St. Louis on Human Rights Day. Ever since the Declaration of Human Rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, was passed in Paris in 1948 on December the 10th, we have fostered the observance of this day not only in the United States, but throughout the world. The object is to make people everywhere conscious of the importance of human rights and freedoms. The reason for that is that these are spoken of and emphasized in the Charter of the United Nations, and the Declaration was written to elaborate the rights already mentioned in the Charter, and to emphasize also for all of us the fact that the building of human rights would be one of the foundation stones on which we would build in the world an atmosphere in which peace could grow. For that reason, all over the world, we've encouraged the associations for the United Nations to observe a whole week before United Nations Day comes around to explain United Nations and what goes on in that organization. And when we come to the celebration for human rights, we try to particularly have people study the Declaration so that they will really understand what were considered to be the most essential rights for all people to have throughout the world. They fall into different groups. And one reason that we are now considering the writing of a covenant or covenant is because we feel that these rights should sometimes be actually written into the laws of countries throughout throughout the world. And that can be done by the adoption of covenants and the changing of laws to meet whatever a country has accepted in a covenant which will be written in treaty form. These things must be well understood, because even though you accept treaties and countries ratify those treaties, the real change which must give to people throughout the world their human rights must come about in the hearts of people. We must want our fellow human beings to have rights and freedoms which give them dignity and which will give them a sense that they are human beings that can walk the earth with their heads high and look all men in the face. If we observe these rights for ourselves and for others, I think we will find that it is easier in the world to build peace, because war destroys all human rights and freedoms. So in fighting for those, we fight for peace.